Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to the other speakers. We acknowledge the Boonwurrung and the Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We admire their ongoing resilience and we support all efforts for Aboriginal sovereignty. The people and organisations who are dominating the so-called climate justice space, from the grassroots to the large NGOs, are refusing to address animal agriculture as the leading cause of climate change and other environmental destruction. They are choosing to ignore the science through fear of loss of support or simply because the message is too inconvenient for themselves. There is a flawed position being promoted by organisations and adopted by the public, that individual change is irrelevant, that all change must come from government, and that our daily so-called choices have no impact. How can we be willing to accept that climate change is human-caused, yet behave as though our individual actions have no consequences? Everything we do has consequence. Every choice we make every single day affects someone else. You showed up here today because you know this is true, or else why would you bother? Many people have been trying to get the impacts of our human superiority over the planet and other animals addressed in this space with the urgency it needs for many years. They are dismissed as single issue, as extremists, as terrorist vegans who do not care about humans. This is so frustrating because I know our motivation comes from a place of love. The love is in our hearts, that we can see a beautiful and just world if only we were all willing to embrace it and make change. Yes, we must continue to pressure governments to make urgent and systemic change. But if we too are going to ignore the science, put habit, greed and indoctrination before personal change, then how the hell are we any different to our governments? And how can we call this a crisis and yet ignore its leading cause? How can we stand up and talk about equality, fairness and compassion for the vulnerable when every single day our actions are in direct contrast to that? How can we demand change from others when we refuse to demand it from ourselves? Dr. Salish Rao, PhD, recently stated the necessary global transition to a plant-based economy can be achieved through concerted grassroots action, with or without active cooperation of governments, scientific institutions, corporations, or the news media. In other words, we have the power to fix this as individuals. We do not need governments, and the fact is that doing so will be futile. As I speak right now, I am terrified, but when fear of speaking truth enables evil and suffering to triumph, then we must face that fear. What is already happening and what is at stake is so much greater than any of us. The suffering and destruction being caused by our human superiority complex, the belief that we have the right to oppress, exploit, harm and kill trillions of innocent land and aquatic beings every single year is killing us all. It is killing this planet and it is killing our souls. We must dig deep and think about what it means to extend our sense of compassion beyond ourselves. If we don't, then we may as well all go home, sit back and watch the world's vulnerable humans and trillions of other animals continue to burn, drown and starve. We can sit back as keystone species drop dead from trees, from heat stress, cry as koalas' homes are destroyed and point fingers whilst eating and wearing the bodies of other animals no different to them, who were raised on the very land taken from those koalas and so many other species. We do not exist in a vacuum. Every single one of us has a moral obligation to each other and to the planet that we must depend on and share. We all have the ability as individuals to do better. Everything we do matters. Don't let anyone make you believe any different, including these
the march.